Over in Wisconsin, meanwhile, Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan has been found guilty of felony obstruction after helping an illegal alien evade ICE during a court appearance, although she was acquitted on the misdemeanor concealment charge.
Prosecutors say that she helped a Mexican national and his lawyer sneak out a back door when ICE agents arrived with a warrant. Joining us now is former acting ICE director and attorney Jonathan Fahey. Jonathan, we followed this case very closely, and quite frankly, it is in a courthouse that ICE can safely serve a warrant and apprehend someone who is in this country illegally. Will this verdict send a message to other people who are in the judicial system who shouldn't fudge around?
Yeah, I think it really will, because I think a lot of people were still surprised she got convicted because it's primarily a Democratic area where she was, where that jury was. So I think it's going to send a strong message, not only to judges that may want to obstruct ICE, but a lot of these Democratic politicians. Remember earlier in this year, it was almost like a rite of passage for these Democratic politicians to get in confrontations with ICE, trying to get arrested. So now this woman is been convicted of a felony. She's facing potential prison time. And you know what's really interesting? You don't see, I was, looking on Twitter, or as the kids call it, X, before I was on here, and none of these Democrats are saying boo about this. And when she was charged, they were all up in arms about it. So I think the message has been sent. It needed to be sent. And the worst thing about what she was doing, the person she was trying to help was facing charges of strangulation and beating his roommate.
Yes.
And that's somebody you would go to bat for to keep in the country. Truly, horrible behavior on part of this judge.
So, Jonathan, you're the attorney. I'm not. But I look at this and I think, well, surely a judge has to resign after doing this, or surely she would have to be impeached for doing this. This is an impeachable offense. Is that going to happen? How do you see that side of this playing out?
So far, she's indicating she won't resign, but I think that there's already talk in the legislature about impeaching her. And you can't serve as a judge, my understanding, in Wisconsin, if you have a felony conviction. She may argue she wants to see this through the appellate process. But yeah, you can't have a judge. And that's another thing that makes this so bad. She's supposed to be an upstanding citizen, and she is abusing her authority to help this person escape. So she needs to be removed. Hopefully she'll come to her senses, and it will actually put her in a better light at her sentencing if she's actually taken some responsibility for this and faced some consequences. So it may actually be in her interest just to resign.
Jonathan, did you pay attention to this trial closely? We covered it here, but was there any sense of remorse from this woman that she had broken the law for which she was convicted of a felony, obviously, but this is not some random person. She was a judge sitting on the bench. Right. She was standing. She was the judge in this man's proceeding. She's supposed to be there, well, impartial, but there was a victim of domestic violence.
Yeah, that's what makes it so outrageous. And you're right. Yeah, she was a judge on the case. And when she went out in the hall, if you guys are covering it, she was out there in her robe. She's basically using her authority as a judge to intimidate these officers from actually doing their job, and they're supposed to arrest illegal aliens. So it's not like they're doing this as some sort of elective part of their job. That's their requirement. So she totally abused her authority, and that makes it so worse. But yeah, there's no remorse at all. Her initial statements were she didn't tell the truth about it. She didn't testify in the case, which ultimately may help her with a sentencing judge. But no remorse, no acceptance of responsibility. And I really think she thinks she was doing the right thing, and it just shows how warped sort of her and a lot of these Democratic politicians are, that the illegal alien constituency is really one of the most powerful constituencies, and certainly the one they're willing to go the greatest lengths to help.
I mean, talk about corroding the system of justice in America on which we all stand. She is Exhibit A. Jonathan Fahey, we got to leave it there. Thanks for your insight today.